Fulcrum of Truth.
All right, another time, another episode.
How you been?
Pretty good. Been watching this YouTube channel grow. We're trying to get this content up, and now it seems like we're getting to the point where there's a little bit for anybody that comes and checks it out. So
Yeah, man. I think that the audience has spoken. Our following has kind of identified what they're interested in, and I think that is our spirituality and our thoughts on that. And I want to get more into that. And I know I'm kind of springing this onto you, but I want to talk tonight a little in that realm, and how we get through our day, right? Because we're going to talk more formally about our philosophy on life and how those things go.
mm-hmm.
But the response we've had to the videos that revolve around religion or Jesus or Muhammad or anything spiritual, they've really popped off, and it seems like that's what people are
Yeah.
looking for,
And I'll
right?
be honest with you, that's what we started the channel for, right? I mean,
Exactly.
this started as a very spiritual journey, and that's where it led. It led to God.
Yeah.
And I would say that 100% of the work revolves around God for me, and if that's what they want to hear about, then that's what we'll give them.
Right. And I was a little afraid to get into it real deep, but that seems to be the thing that is clicking with people.
Yeah.
That's what people want to see. So let's go into it. Let's not be shy. I want to talk about some of my mantras. I wake up in the morning, and these are the things that I tell myself. And maybe you think they're spiritual, maybe not. I mean, they're just things that I think and try to live by. And we'll talk more about, like I said, the philosophy that we've kind of put together. But when you wake up in the morning, for me, I tell myself a bunch of things, and I try to live by them for my day. And there's a lot of them, a lot of different things I say to myself in the morning while I'm laying in bed and just, kind of coming to consciousness and feeling that sunlight and waking up and thinking about whether I'm going to do push-ups or get in a cold shower or whatever it is. But there's, three kind of pop out to me. I'll kind of simplify it down to that. And, if you have any that you think of that you want to share, go ahead. But I'd like to get your thoughts on these. Some of them I have shared with you in the past, or at least we've spoken about them, but, our audience hasn't heard them. The first one, when I wake up, I tell myself I am nothing. I am less than nothing. Okay? And it goes back into what we've spoken about, humility and things like that. Like, when I think of my human being and my consciousness, I'm just one of 7 billion copies on this earth, right? And the earth is so insignificant compared to when I just look at the sky and I look at the sun, just the sun
Mm-hmm.
in the sky. It's so, it dwarfs me, right? I realize that everything around me is really not that important, right?
Yeah.
The buildings we have around us, this room that we're sitting in, the chairs, it's nothing. I
Yeah.
am nothing.
Yeah, I think that's a great one. I mean, but you have to contextualize it, right? Like it's such a vague statement, but when you put so much meaning into it, the way you described it afterward, it gives it better context and a way you're supposed to formulate it in your thinking. And yeah, I mean, it did it to me as you were sitting here describing it. It made me feel small. It made me feel insignificant.
Yeah.
It made me realize how insignificant things are around us that are so tiny. So it's effective. It sounds like.
Right. And it's about being grateful for what you have. Um, it's it's the idea that everything we have around us is a gift from God or from wherever you want to take that gift from. Um, we're just such an insignificant part of the big picture, even though it's easy to get trapped in that pride, in that arrogance, in that self promotion, that you're important or you want to be important. I don't want to be important. I want to accept that I am just a cog in the wheel, and that my role is whatever it is, and I'm going to go along with it. I'm going to follow that path. And uh, it's really, in the big scheme of things, very, very insignificant. And I'm looking forward to, man, I'm excited about my next life.
Okay. Okay. That's amazing. I like that.
Okay?
I love that. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, with that sentiment being said, it's, uh, you know, I kind of, it's a little different for me when I wake up.
Okay.
Uh, so again, you understand that I try to flow with the universe, and um, to do that comes a lot with not thinking at all. So whether it's by choice or by being forced into it, right? My mentality when I wake up is very blank and very empty in the now. I'm almost like a bucket waiting for something to get poured in. You know, that's how I wake up, and that's kind of how I go through my whole day. Um, I don't think too much. I think I've explained this a little bit to you before, and it's hard to understand because of how much thinking I actually do. Like, you understand that I literally am crunching my brain all day long doing research and contemplating all types of numbers and patterns and stuff. But those thoughts that I'm having are much more like I'm on a roller coaster encountering them than I'm walking and determining where I want to go. If you understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
absolutely. Like, do I succeed in being nothing every day? No, I
Yeah.
don't. I don't. It's a struggle. It's hard to accept your insignificance in life, because every turn, every day, everything that's happening makes you feel like you're in some sort of control. But I try to humble myself. I try to step back and say, no, I'm not in control of this. I am, um, but an element that is occurring. And right,
Yeah.
I am the breath of God,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just playing a role. So yeah, it's very hard to actually live that life,
Yeah.
and I don't
Yeah.
do it successfully. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I think if you look at like humans' attention spans, right? They're super short. I wouldn't try to quote them right now, but I know that they're very short. And even for men, I think a woman's attention span is longer than a man, but in the end, they're both extremely short when we're talking about like an entire day or an entire hour or something like that. So it's like,
A
these,
year, a
yeah,
millennium.
yeah. I mean, how's a person? Yeah. So with this attention span being so short, it's like if you can train yourself to get into that living in the now and trying to live in that flow state, you can pre-program yourself to naturally be like that, right? But I don't know if you can pre-program yourself to to pay attention all the time. If we could, then people would be able to program their attention spans much longer.
Yeah, no, it's hard. It's very difficult. And we've talked about, dependability, past knowledge in previous recording, and how, and that kind of goes into my second daily mantra, which
Okay.
is, I know nothing.
Yeah.
And telling myself I know nothing and living in that space on a regular basis is another hard one. So many things around us. You think oh, whatever it is. I think I know that the Earth revolves around the sun. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I haven't been there. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I see the sun passing over me every day. I see the moon passing me over every day. But what do I really know? And the answer is almost nothing.
Yeah. I'll be very bold here, and I'll try and put it as elegantly as I can. But one of the first things that God ever taught me was that we don't know anything. and that it's impossible to know anything due to not being able to know the future. So nobody knows the future, and we have free will. Humans could blow up the earth right now and kill every human being on earth right now. We have the technology, and there's nothing stopping them. There's no force of nature that's stopping them. They have the ability to wake up, build the bomb, and destroy the earth. And if that happened, God would have to rebuild it. And he doesn't know if that's going to happen. And as bold as that is to say, God doesn't even know the future, because the future hasn't happened yet. And anybody can do whatever they want.
I think we got a whole different video on that.
Yeah, I mean,
because I have some different views, but I'm not going to go into them right now.
yeah.
But yeah, man, the approaching every day as if you don't know anything is so fulfilling. So fulfilling. Your life just becomes filled with wonder and amazement, and everything you experience is like a new learning. And that's how I try to see things. And it's hard to put yourself in that mindset.
Yeah.
It really is.
You have to be forced into it. I know that's how it was for me, right? I had to be shown that I don't know anything. And when, people live their whole lives thinking that they know things, they think they understand this 100% to the point that they know it, and they know this is going to happen, or they know that that's going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, they get their whole lives rattled, and they get scared, and they don't know what to do. They panic because what they thought they knew, they didn't know. And then their plan failed. And by understanding that you can't know anything, it really allows you to handle those situations a lot better. When you encounter something in your life that was unexpected and you thought you knew something, rather than your whole world fracturing because you have to adjust what you knew, you already understood that might not happen, and already got a plan B, and already understand that this is part of life. And yeah.
Yeah, and it goes into our theory on dualities, right? And they've these kind of things have existed for a long time, right? You can't have light without dark.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have up without down. Okay? What we think we know is just a snapshot of what's happening right now. And accepting that we don't really know anything gives my life a greater meaning.
I mean, it allows you to discover the things out there that you can't find otherwise. So when you think you know things, it doesn't leave the opening there for unknown to happen. It's when I walk down the street, if I'm somewhere, I'm looking out for anything. I'm looking around me. I'm looking out in the cornfield. I'm looking out in the sky. I'm looking down the road. I'm looking at the signs. I'm looking in the holes between the little corn stalks. I'm looking for things to occur that I didn't see or that might happen that aren't there already. Where I think a lot of people might walk down that street and they're just looking ahead. They're just looking for what's in front of them. They're looking for a car coming, and they're looking at their destination. They're thinking that right now what I'm doing is walking down the street, and what I'm doing is trying to get to where I'm going. Where I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to get to where I'm going. I'm trying to find some things that are around me that I didn't see before on my way to where I'm going, but I'm not there yet. And that's just, it's a different way of, it comes into just wandering.
It's a good way of putting it. And yeah, like, again, I don't always succeed in this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I am focused on the destination.
Yeah.
I'm focused on where I'm trying to get, and that's what I'm trying to do. But, when I take a moment and I breathe and I think about what am I doing here? Why am I here? What's my purpose? I try to remember those things. I'm insignificant. I don't know anything. What is around me? What do I see? And there's so much. There's so much.
Yeah. That's how I found it all. I mean, I think I'm more forced into that mindset at this point. I really don't think anymore. There's not a lot of conscious, creative thought. Everything really just happens at this point. I'm really in a flow state, and the insignificance is part of my being now. I mean, I know that I'm nothing.
Yeah.
I know nothing. Sorry, I understand I know nothing, right? This word is still part of our
Yeah,
vernacular.
to say you know that you know nothing is a
so,
contradiction.
I mean,
right?
I'll clarify right there, right? I absolutely know nothing. That is part of my basic humanistic philosophy for life. In my conversations, I may say I know and use the word know by accident many times. But anytime that I use that word, I mean to say understand. And it's just like calling God he. I don't mean to say he, but that's just what's in the language. I don't mean to say I know anything. It's just what's in the language. Something that I'm working on. It's hard though. And if it's hard for me, who after years of knowing that I don't understand, understanding that I don't know anything, and it's still stuck in there, I can't imagine what it's like for somebody that doesn't even understand it. I mean, it's people go around acting as though they know all day long. And I said this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it 1,000 times probably. The moment you think you know is when you really start making a mistake, and you don't even realize it. It's like it's the ultimate downfall in a person that thinks they know something, and that's all I see. When I see a person that thinks they know anything in the whole world, I know that my kid's going to this college. I know that my wife's never going to cheat on me. I know that my religion is such and my God is right and yours is wrong, and all these things that they think they know about. I just see a bunch of fools that are going to be wrong one day.
All right, that was great, man. That's exactly what I was trying to draw out of you, because you and I see things kind of eye to eye on this, and it leads me into that. I haven't mentioned the third mantra, right? So I am nothing, I know nothing, and then my third mantra is only love, right? And what I mean by that is that what you put out is what you're going to get back, right? So it's hard. I don't always do it, but trying to, I love you. I love
you too, brother.
Oh, thank you. I love you. I love every person that I come into contact with. I love the whole experience that I'm enjoying, right? I love the earth. I love the trees. I love the rocks, everything, all of it.
Yeah. This actually is a big part of basically the way I live my life. Like you said, this mantra is important. And I've kids that had come to me a lot of times when I was mentoring kids. They would ask me, what am I supposed to do when they were struggling with this internal battle? A lot of people were waking up and they would say, I'm doing what think I'm supposed to be doing, but my body's telling me that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. There's this other thing that I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't know what it is, and I'm not doing it yet, but I'm got this drive telling me to find it. And they would say, well, how do I find that? And I would say, well, I don't know exactly how to find that, but one way that you can't go wrong is by waking up in the morning and going out to your front door and looking around at your neighbors and trying to find somebody that needs help, and then going and helping them. And in that process, you end up finding everything that was meant for you. And you end up filling that craving inside of you that's saying, find something that you're supposed to be doing, and this is not it. And I almost feel like it's kind of like a cheat code to find the thing that you're supposed to be looking for. Most times people don't know what their path is. They don't know, what they're going to do with their lives or anything like that. And honestly, if you just go help people, and talk to them and help the people that you see and kind of give yourself and give your time to people, you'll end up discovering that thing that you're supposed to be doing. And it's almost like magic.
Yeah, and it's all about just following the path and letting the path lead you, but you can stray from it, right? And it's a struggle every single day to wake up and think and live your life in this way is not easy, and we can only hope to succeed a small fraction of the time. At least for me, that's what I've experienced. I can't, not every day do I succeed in these three mantras, but if I had to boil everything I tell myself down to three things, that would be it.
Yeah, I think it's a good little 3-step process, right, to bring yourself to balance, to find that golden path, and understand that you are nothing. Humble yourself, get rid of your ego, understand that you know nothing, get rid of all that preconceived information that you learned while you were human and thought was what was right, and you're realizing that now is not as much bringing you to happiness that you're trying to find. And then go with love and just fill yourself with love and try and spread love the best you can, and in the end that all comes back to you. And if you're lacking anything, I can promise you love will bring it to you. People take care of each other that they love.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
if you like what we're saying, subscribe, like, comment, all that stuff. And, you know, we one thing we didn't mention here was the fact that when we use words, they're usually a little bit different meaning than
yeah.
other people kind of maybe preconceived notions of words.
Yeah, we'll go into that more in the future, but basically, one of the difficulties we had right in the book was that a lot of words have predefined definitions that people carry across all different walks of life. They, if they're into physics, they're going to look at dimensions different than somebody that's into spirituality, maybe. And there's different definitions that everybody has. It leads to confusion when we talk about things we talk about because we use those words a little bit, and without fully defining them for how we look at them and fully giving them detail, it's hard to convey exactly what we mean. So I would just urge everybody to, not convolute the words that we use with those words being used by other people. You know, it's when we say dimension, when we say God, when we say heaven, when we say faith, and all these things, we're using them in a very detailed, unique way that we want to use them. It's similar to the way they're used, but it's not exactly the same. So try
Right.
not to
There just aren't better words. And I think that this is a good point to bring up now in the context of I am nothing, I know nothing,
yeah.
right? And so when you put those two things together with the words that we say, it it illuminates a little more what we're talking about and how we're talking about it.
Yeah, that's like I said in the beginning. You gave the a very good context for I am nothing,
Yeah.
and without that context, it's hard because you can't just go to tell somebody, hey, tell yourself you are nothing in the morning. You know what I mean? There's 100 different ways they could take that. So remember that with all the words that we're using, it's not just those sayings.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. Good talk.
All right.
Loved
We'll
it.
get back. Sounds good.
We'll get back.
All right.
See you soon.